to here would fluctuate. Everybody's got their own personal relationship to him, and I do believe the one thing in common is the distance that Cal spontaneously and sometimes calculably kept between people. If everybody would just do me a favor, because I'm a little nervous, can we all just breathe in deeply and let out a little sigh? And this time breathe in deeply, and not a sigh to come out, but some exhalation with a little noise. And back out. And maybe bring it up, that's right, bring it up a little bit more inside, and then back out. And then take this expression in love of this world, like our friend Judge Cal, bring it in, let it out any way you want to. And one more time, just to clear the space from anything that happened today, to bring us right here now to the surprise party for Judge Cal. One more time, just in and out. Thank you. That was beautiful, and that's the way it should be. My name is Galinsky. I'm one of many of Cal's friends. I was honored to be asked to help facilitate the mic tonight. So I'm really proud and happy to be here. Just wanted to say that. We're going to do about 25 minutes of people call it eulogy, remembrance. Please try to keep it to 2 minutes or less. If you see me walk up next to you, we want you to wrap it up. And not because there isn't an abundance of things to say, but because there's maybe enough people that we don't want this to turn into all night long eulogies for Cal. We want to turn this into what it is. It's a celebration of a unique, hard-working individual who's inspired me and I believe others to do what the fuck they wanted to do in life. And I think there's not any taboo in here tonight. I was saying to some friends on the way over, anybody who gets offended by what anybody else says here tonight, just remember what Cal would say, fuck you. Bottom line. So say whatever the fuck you please to honor our friend. We're going to do this, and then we're going to go into some DJing with John Morton and a few other people. There's going to be a surprise musical performance. It's going to be great. Midnight, we're going to have a toast for Cal. And when we break from this microphone situation, I suggest, and I really ask you to do this, to go up to a stranger and just ask the question, where did you meet Cal? It's not really even how did you meet Cal, it's more like where did you meet Cal? That will lead to how did you meet Cal. But where is way more interesting, because Cal was fucking in so many different places. And I just walked through Union Square today and kept thinking, I'm going to see him roll up on his blades, or I'm going to see him standing over by the railing, you know, just checking shit out. And I won't do that anymore. I won't be able to see that. But I did see him. I kind of just said, yeah, he's still there, right? Thank you. I wrote notes so I wouldn't cry, because I know that when I write notes, I don't cry as much. I wanted to just point out a couple of people who made tonight super possible. And people who, I don't know if everybody knows the backstory. Cal has a family here in New York, and it does spread throughout the country, but his family here in New York, and really his family here in New York, where he made his home after he ran away from his first home, really made this night possible, and made Cal's respectful exit from this physical world into the next level. And a few people that really need, one person in particular that I need to point out is Adeo Resi. He's here tonight. If you were part of any of the emails that went around, the hardest thing about this was to find Cal's family, because we as his family were looking diligently for his family of record. Because of the laws and the situation with our institutions, there has to be a family of record to make sure that people don't wind up anonymous. And we were days away from that. And one person who really led the charge and collected people when it got a little frayed, everybody that was involved made great efforts, but I just want to point out Adeo Resi, if it wasn't for what Adeo stuck to as a loyal, true friend to Cal, to to give him what he deserves right now, then I know we wouldn't be here and we would not be seeing the beautiful, fucking beautiful dignity that we see him going out on. So I want to just say thank you. Okay. Also tonight, John Morton, Belisa, Missy Galore's videos out front, Mike Ross, Dennis Adamo, David Borman, who also put a huge effort in researching and finding out where we could get the appropriate exit for our friend, and Rosanna, who also really put heart and soul into tonight's evening. Please give them a hand. This is about helping out. Make sure you take a rose out of the casket. I was told by Rosanna and Belisa. Make sure you take a rose out of the casket with you tonight. That's why they're there. Mom's letter is on that wall by the wings if you haven't read it yet. There's also a book to please sign in. The New York Times article from today is floating around somewhere. So with no other comments, remember when we're off this mic, please walk up to somebody you don't know and say, where did you meet Judge Cal? Because you know he's going to be smiling on all of your answers. It's going to be a wonderful, wonderful way to share this guy's spirit. I'm now going to offer the microphone to a good friend of Cal and a good friend of Cal's family, which is in this room, Adeo Essie.
Fuck. Maybe that's the word to start with. Mike Ross, he wasn't named, but he was right there. Belisa, Mike Ross, Rosanna, we formed a core team. I volunteered to come up first because it's really hard. And we went through extraordinary lengths to ensure that Cal's wishes in his early departure from this world would come true. And, you know, I have very good news. Maybe I should start with some logistics. A lot of people ask. Cal died of natural causes, and the big challenge was to find his family. About 2 days ago, his case got turned over to the public administrator of New York, which meant that all of his possessions and his body would go to the state. But 24 hours later, Belisa had found a photograph of Cal, turned it over, and saw the name of his sister, and she cold called someone in Seattle by that name, and it was a hit. It's a miracle. And the family is 100% supportive of his family here in New York and at Burning Man taking over the affair. So, warm round of applause for everyone in the room and all of his family. So, Galinsky gave me the write it down so you don't cry. Unfortunately, before I wrote it down, I was on a plane crying, and I'll keep it short. So, there are those among us who deserve our admiration and respect because they stand tall. They are the obvious candidates for greatness. There are also those whose greatness lingers behind the scenes, shining in the dark corners of our world. Their greatness peers into things and through the challenges of life to inspire us and to surprise us. Those who stand up for what they believe in. Those who are curious about the world around them. Those who raise their hand to help a friend. Those who contribute without an expectation of return. Cal was one of those people, a great person, a great friend, and a great mind. Cal forged a life of friendship in the face of adversity. He built a world where his friends were his family. He had our back, he gave selflessly, he inspired us. He is an original. I'll always have your back, my friend. I know where you've gone. Welcome home. welcome back, rest in peace. Another warrior has fallen, and your time has come too early for this world. Thank you.
I just went and got these done today. They're very painful, but I did it in honor of my friend. There's no list. We didn't sign the list. We didn't say anything about sign up. We just knew that Adeo would kick it off for us. So if somebody's got something to say, we said please take it to 2 minutes so we don't spend the night just doing this presentational kind of conversation. You can come up and say 15 seconds or 5 seconds or 30 seconds. So if somebody want to keep the momentum rolling before Cal says, "Fuck it." John Morton.
Hi, my name is John. I worked with Cal at Pseudo on his show High Weirdness in 1999. I was fascinated by him and wanted to work on his show so badly, and he didn't want to have anything to do with me. And Peter Shapiro already worked on the show, so I kind of had it in, kind of. But I used to go sit in Cal's office with him late at night because I sort of had a day job at Pseudo, and then in the night I used to just sit in Cal's office and he would ignore me, and I would sit in silence with him. And he'd be on one computer and I'd be on another computer, and he'd be totally ignoring me. And I was persistent. I would try to start a conversation, and he would either say nothing, or he'd be like, and then he would show me a video clip of someone being killed, or something disgusting, like someone vomiting, or some sort of insane form or something, which was a staple of his show, just to disturb me and try to push me away. And I stayed persistent. And eventually he let me work on the show. He sat me down and he said, "All right, you're gonna work on the show. There's one thing to get straight. You're behind the scenes, I'm in front of the camera." And he told me he worked for a magician when he first came to New York City as an apprentice. And he said that he was so pissed off that the magician was up front and he was behind. And he made a decision at that point in his life that he would never be behind the scenes. And of course, he spent his life, in band and modeling and doing everything. And he just loved being in front of the camera and being a star. And he was good at it. And I slowly, as I started working with him, we bonded, and he started letting me in. He was very sweet and very sensitive, and told me stuff about his family and running away from home, and crazy stories from living in New York City in the early days and everything. And it just, I had a very close relationship with him. We used to go to St. Mark's Place, to this Japanese place, and he used to buy sukiyaki. We used to share a bowl of sukiyaki. And I used to get really excited. I think he just liked how excited I got about it. But he was just amazing. And when Pseudo went under, he was like, "I'm going to take care of you." And he told me before Pseudo went under, and he got me a job working with Josh Harris after that on We Live in Public, and we had a crazy time there. And there's one last story I'll tell is Rosanna. I had so many stories, but Rosanna suggested I tell this story just because it's embarrassing and strange. But at We Live in Public, it's a long story, but Josh Harris put cameras in his apartment to broadcast his life live over the internet. Terrible idea. But those of us who worked on it became sort of surrogate cast members. And so I was there just working, and then Shannon O'Kelly, who some of you know from Pseudo, was there because she was friends with Tanya. Shannon and I started dating, and that became like a plot development in the reality TV show. And she had blogged about it, and there was just one night where Cal and Shannon and Tanya and I were all in front of the camera doing a show, and sort of she was going to reveal who she was dating. Like, who are you dating? Is it Cal? Is it John? Like, is someone on the show? And we're sitting there, and Cal whispers in my ear. He's like, "What you got to do is just grab her and start making out with her. Just grab her and start making out with her on the camera." And I was like, "I don't know if I can do that. I'm shy." He's like, "Fine, fuck it." He shoved me out of the way, and he grabbed Shannon and started. And then everyone was like, "Oh my god, it's Cal, it's Cal." And I was like, no. And you can see everyone in the chat room, but there's sort of a delay, so you can see their delayed reaction. And so I was like, no. So I went out there, and then Shannon and I made out, and I was like, okay, it's John and Shannon. And then out of nowhere, Cal grabs me and just starts kissing me. And I was like, what the fuck? And everyone's like, what's going on? And afterwards, he pulled me aside. He's like, yeah, that's just for show. just for show. He's like, sometimes I just get going, like when I'm in front of the camera, you just gotta push it, you push it. And so, if anything I can take from him, it's that idea of just pushing it and just going for it. And so thanks, Cal.
Thanks, John Morton. Who would like to come up next?
Well, I'm really short and that microphone looks high. Lori Malasano.
Laurie Allison.
Lori Gal- I wasn't going to say anything because I stutter when I speak in public. But just for everyone who knew him from when he first came here in the early 80s and the mid 80s, the few of us were talking outside, the down to earth, the Cal that was just like your brother, and the couple of times we would hang out and go back to his apartment, and the first thing to jump on the bed and whip out the photo album and remember this, remember that, and it was just like my perception is not the shock value tactics that one puts on and everything, just the person speaking from their heart. And when I heard the stories about how he loved Mickey Mouse and Disneyland, and that's the down-to-earth Cal that I remember. And he was that too. Don't forget that. He wasn't just the shock value, the pseudo Cal. He was also Cal. And I just wanted to say that.
Thank you. The tattoos are open for whoever would like to come. Come on up. Tell me your name, I'll give you.
I'm Ashby.
Ashby?
Ashby.
Ashby.
Yeah. I'm Cal's roommate from the late 80s, early 90s. I'm reading from my iPhone because I lost what I wrote, and I hope I won't get kicked off. My name is Ashby, and tonight I'd like to read what I wrote to Colin for his New York Times article. Cal and I met in the fall of 1989 from a mutual friend while I was looking for an apartment and he was looking for a roommate. I knew of Cal by then, of course, because he graced the pages of Details magazine, he modeled for Stephen Sprouse, and he had been name-dropped in the Andy Warhol diaries. He had a scar on his face, tattoos on his arms, and the sinister yet endearing smile that drew you in like a magnet, with curiosity about what was going on inside that head of his. We bonded over our unspoken